Hey guys, it's me, Poppy Rain here, and today we're going to be reading Calling Dr. Amelia Bedelia by Herman Parrish, illustrated by Lynn Sweet. It was a hot day in August. Mr. Rogers was even hotter. Amelia Bedelia, yelled Mr. Rogers. What are you doing? What's wrong? Said Amelia Bedelia. You said it was hot enough to... Stop, said Mr. Rogers. I said it was hot enough to fry an egg on the sidewalk, not on my car. Well, said Amelia Bedelia, you should be glad. I would never fry your eggs on a dirty old sidewalk. Forget about eggs, said Mr. Rogers. You will be late for your appointment, said Dr. Horton. Jump in the car. Yes, sir, said Amelia Bedelia. She bounced up and down on her seat. Sit still, said Mr. Rogers. Good, said Amelia Bedelia. It wasn't easy to jump in your car. Mr. Rogers shook his head. What kind of doctor is Dr. Horton? He asked. The best kind, said Amelia Bedelia. She is a very good doctor. Of course, said Mr. Rogers. I mean, what does Dr. Horton treat? Everyone, said Amelia Bedelia. And she treats good boys and girls to ice cream. They arrived at Dr. Horton's office. Mr. Rogers took out a bottle. What are those pills? Asked Amelia Bedelia. They're for a headache, said Mr. Rogers. Why do you want a headache? Asked Amelia Bedelia. I have a headache now, said Mr. Rogers. Then why do you want another one? Asked Amelia Bedelia. I don't, said Mr. Rogers. In fact, I'm getting rid of my biggest headache. Goodbye. Goodbye, said Amelia Bedelia. Thanks for the ride, and I hope you feel better. Thank you, said Mr. Rogers. Call me when you're done. Amelia Bedelia opened the door to Dr. Horton's office. It was a lot noisier than usual. Amelia Bedelia, said Nurse Ames. You're a sight for sore eyes. How terrible, said Amelia Bedelia. I'm very sorry that your eyes hurt. My eyes are fine, said Nurse Ames, but I am up to my eyeballs in patients. Dr. Horton had to visit the hospital. Would you give me a hand until she gets back? No, said Amelia Bedelia. Both my hands are attached to me, but I'll be glad to help you. Right then. The telephone rang. Hello, this is Dr. Horton's office. This is Mrs. Bender, said a woman, and I'm calling because I've got hives. That's great, said Amelia Bedelia. I'll bet you have honey. Don't call me honey, said Mrs. Bender. Do you know what it means to have hives? I sure do. Honey, said Amelia Bedelia. Stop calling me honey, said Mrs. Bender. I'm coming down to see Dr. Horton right now. Good, said Amelia Bedelia. Please bring us some honey. Mrs. Bender hung up on her. Guess what? Said Amelia Bedelia. Mrs. Bender is coming to see us. Oh my, said Nurse Ames. Mrs. Bender is a pain in the neck. But her heart is in the right place. Wow, said Amelia Bedelia. It would be terrible if her heart was down in her foot. This is April, said Nurse Ames. She's a little scared. Will you take her temperature? I will try, said Amelia Bedelia. Give it a shot, said Nurse Ames. A shot, wailed April. Boo-hoo! Don't worry, said Nurse Ames. It's just a thermometer. Amelia Bedelia, will you tell me the temperature in 3 minutes? I don't have a watch, said Amelia Bedelia. Look out the window, said Nurse Ames. The bank across the street has a big clock. Bring! Amelia Bedelia was busier than ever. She answered call after call after call. I hear ringing in my ears. A ringing. Maybe you should answer the doorbell. My nose hurts on the bridge. We'll get off that bridge. I've caught some kind of bug. I hope you let it go. Bugs can bite. Oh, Amelia Bedelia, said Nurse Ames. Don't forget about the temperature. Amelia Bedelia ran to the window. It says 98 degrees. Fine, said Nurse Ames. 98 is normal. Yes, said Amelia Bedelia. That is normal for August. For August, said Nurse Ames. Don't you mean for April? Finally, April smiled. A boy came into the office. Excuse me, he said. I'm here for a test. Well, you must be lost, said Amelia Bedelia. You have to go to school to take a test. I'm here for a blood test, said the boy. Blood test? Asked Amelia Bedelia. What kind of crazy test is that? True or false? I wish it were, said the boy. Well, said Amelia Bedelia, let's give it a try. True or false? Do you have blood? True, he said. Of course I have blood. Then you pass, said Amelia Bedelia. What if I didn't have blood? Asked the boy. Then you would pass out, said Amelia Bedelia. Hi, Andy, said Nurse Ames. We need to draw your blood. Amelia Bedelia, please take Andy to the examination room. Look at all this blank paper, said Amelia Bedelia. Why don't you draw your own blood? Amelia Bedelia gave Andy a big red pen. He began to draw. My mom told me, said Andy, that when you draw blood, I will feel a little stick. Amelia Bedelia looked all around. Here, she said. Feel this old ice cream stick. Those depress your tongue, said Andy. Right you are, said Amelia Bedelia. A stick without ice cream would depress anyone's tongue. That reminds me, said Amelia Bedelia. She made a phone call and soon hung up. The phone rang again. Dr. Horton's office, said Amelia Bedelia. I have a problem, said a man. I'm a little horse. A little horse, ha, said Amelia Bedelia. Can't fool me. A pony can't talk. I have a frog in my throat, the man croaked. Yuck, said Amelia Bedelia. Spit it out. Listen to me, he said. I'm sick as a dog. Make up your mind, said Amelia Bedelia. Pony, frog, or dog? Maybe you should call a vet. I'm coming down there, he said, and hung up. Bring. The phone rang again. Dr. Horton's office, said Amelia Bedelia. Hello, my office, joked Dr. Horton. Hi, Dr. Horton, said Amelia Bedelia. I have been helping Nurse Ames. How nice of you, said Dr. Horton. So much has happened, said Amelia Bedelia, but best of all, April is normal for August. April? August? What? Said Dr. Horton. Then I gave Andy a blood test, said Amelia Bedelia. You drew Andy's blood? Asked Dr. Horton. No, said Amelia Bedelia. Andy drew his own blood. The table is covered with it. What? Shouted Dr. Horton. Are you treating my patients? Not yet, said Amelia Bedelia, but I will soon. Don't tease me, said Dr. Horton. I'm almost out of patients. Oh, no, you're not, said Amelia Bedelia. Your office is full of patients. I'll be right there, said Dr. Horton. The office door burst open. Out of my way, yelled a woman. I am Mrs. Bender. Just look at my hives. How nice, said Amelia Bedelia. You came to bring us honey. But first, let's take care of the pain in your neck. Amelia Bedelia began to wrap Mrs. Bender in bandages, but she did not finish the job. All the patients Amelia Bedelia had upset on the phone stormed into the waiting room. Just then, Dr. Horton walked in. Calm down, said Dr. Horton. I'll take care of everyone. My throat, oh, my stomach, my head, my nose hurts, aches. Stop that ringing. Dr. Horton looked at the crowd in her office. Who is first? She asked. Me, said the delivery man. The ice cream is starting to melt. What ice cream? Said Dr. Horton. Your ice cream, said Amelia Bedelia. I told you I was treating your patients. Dr. Horton laughed. Good for you, she said. My patients all deserve a treat. They were enjoying their ice cream When Mr. Rogers arrived, Amelia Bedelia, said Mr. Rogers. I was worried. Why didn't you call? I've been busy, said Amelia Bedelia. Yes, said Dr. Horton. She was a huge help. And you must be Mr. Rogers. Pleased to meet you, said Mr. Rogers. Dr. Horton looked at Mr. Rogers. Do you feel okay? Asked Dr. Horton. You don't look very good. We know that, said Amelia Bedelia, but we have gotten used to him. Say, said Dr. Horton. Uh-oh, said Mr. Rogers. Not uh-oh, said Amelia Bedelia. Say, like this. Aha, said Dr. Horton. I knew it, Amelia Bedelia. Take Mr. Rogers and get him into bed. I'm as strong as an ox, said Mr. Rogers. Yes, dear, said Mrs. Rogers, and as stubborn as a mule with chicken pox. Speaking of chickens, said Amelia Bedelia, here's some homemade chicken soup. Yum, said Mr. Rogers. This hits the spot. Which spot? Asked Amelia Bedelia. Big spot on your cheek? Or that little spot on your chin? Or maybe the teeny tiny spot on? Enough, said Mr. Rogers. Okay, said Amelia Bedelia. I will go wash those eggs off your car. Good idea, said Mr. Rogers. Put some wax on it, too. Sure thing, said Amelia Bedelia. Amelia Bedelia got a pail and some water, and she did not forget the wax. The end.